guys, and welcome to my channel. So let's get into it. Your girl's turning 30. Ain't nobody got time. Like, I'm real confused about where all the time went. I only remember like a few years of turn-ups, you know, relocating to LA, a little bit of college, a little bit of high school, but I just don't feel like it equals up to 30 years. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. Relocated to Atlanta, not born but raised pretty much my whole life. And so when I think about like 3 things that would describe myself, you know, definitely a Southern belle. Definitely, you know, Southern belle with a little bit of ratchet at heart. Love soul food, seafood, and like super outgoing. Like, I feel like those are things that I would describe myself, but like that's me now. I feel like it took me so long to get there. So when I think about like this last 30 years, I feel like I learned a lot. Like, I learned a lot about life. I learned a lot about myself. I think for sure, like when I think about like younger years, I had like legit the best childhood ever. Drops photo. Parents were together for pretty much the younger parts of my life. They got divorced when I was in elementary school, which was super hard on me. And it was rough. Like, I don't think I realized how rough it was until like my 20s. I just didn't realize like how hard it hit, and how like a lot of the habits that I had as an adult like really stemmed from that point in my life. I think like innately, like by nature, I'm a caregiver. There are certain things that I will always do for people around me, whether they want me to or not. At the time, like literally when my parents like drove down to pick us up from summer vacation at my Grammys, and like told us that when we got back to the house they weren't gonna be together, I don't even think that I felt it for like the first few months. Like, the first thing that clicked in my mind was I have 2 younger sisters, and like I need to take this on for them, because they're not going to like understand what's going on. I don't want them to feel like anything is different. So immediately I felt like I needed to like process the situation quickly. I needed to upload, like I needed to upload what was happening and download my feelings. Like, I just didn't have time to really like process everything. So for me, it was like I feel like I didn't allow myself to like live in that moment and feel those emotions, and I paid for it later. Like, I truly paid for it later, and I don't think that that's something that I would probably change for the world. I think it was like something that needed to happen. I think I'm better as an adult for it, even though I feel like I suffered a little bit like when I was younger, because I felt like I do feel like it created a person that was perpetually full of emotion. There were just things that I felt like I needed to take on for them. I felt like as the oldest, there were just some things that I needed to like do later for myself that just wasn't as important as that. I had to help myself. From the point at which my parents decided to get divorced until about 10th grade, I was extremely depressed, despite like what I feel like a lot of people around. With my Grammy like saved me every year. Every summer I would go. I would never want to come back, because it's like I feel like when I'm with my gram, like it's like this little bubble. It's just me and her. Those summers were literally like, they were like my little island of like, get your life. Like, you're gonna go back to school. You're gonna have to leave here. Like, life's not this bubble. You have to like live life. Every summer, like every single summer with my grandma for probably 10 years straight. So literally like saved my life every single time. I could talk to her about anything, and when I didn't want to talk about it, she knew we needed to pray about it. I never had to like mention what was wrong, and it's still that way. I can still call her and be like, Grandma, can we just pray? And she knows, like, she just knows. She knows. She knows everything. And islands are really and truly what kept me balanced. So now, I've always been a super silly, fun, outgoing person, and I think that's why a lot of people around me never anticipate like what I'm feeling or what's going on, because I'm either always like in a amazing mood or I'm full blown like breakdown. New, because I didn't tell anyone anything. Like, I was just the way I dealt with things, which, you know, now as an adult, I know I don't have to do that if I'm not comfortable talking to people around me. There are people you can talk to, you can get a therapist, you do whatever you need to do. There was Miss Bose, who actually worked at my elementary school, and she, you know, unbeknownst to her, got me through so many things. Like, just super simple I would go to school early just to go sit on her desk and talk to her in the morning, because I felt like she could just always manage to get my mind right. Like, she could get me all the way together. There was no hesitation. She would be like, look, I'm gonna listen, and when this conversation is over, we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna be fine. We can talk about it as often as you want to, but when these conversations come to a close, like, you need to know you have a support system and you can keep it moving. Now, fast forward to 10th grade. She was a part of the debutante program that I was in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So that was huge for me, because I felt like she, again, swooped in to save me later in life. Like, she was always there in elementary school, went to a totally different middle school, didn't see her all the time, would always go to my elementary school and talk to her. But, like, getting to, like, really be in her space again, like, in 10th grade, because I needed someone at that point. I knew a lot of people in high school, but I didn't have, like, I didn't have a lot of friends. True story, my now best friend, I forced her to be my friend in 12th grade, and I forced her to join debutante. I know you don't really know me, but we're going to be friends, okay? Okay? But we've literally been best friends since the second day in work study. Life happened some kind of way in my first year in college. I didn't really gain any weight, because I would bribe her. I would cook breakfast. I would bribe her to get up in the morning and go with me to the gym. We would go to the gym every morning at 5:30 in the morning. 5:30 in the morning, we would go to the gym. And then I would bribe her because I would cook breakfast when we got back. So she would go with me to the gym, and then I would cook breakfast. That was our deal. So we were fine freshman year. After that, like, life just got really difficult. I was just trying to juggle a lot. Still probably, like, realistically, I just hadn't processed, like, a lot of the emotions that I still had. I think I was just living on that high of freshman year of college. Everything's gonna be fine. I was in AP classes in high school, so I already had completed almost 2 years by the time I started school. So I decided I still wanted a 4-year college experience. So I decided to double major and minor so that I could still complete 4 years, which I still think was the best decision I could have made, because I still interned for 2 of those years. Like, I got a lot of experience under my belt by still committing to a 4-year college experience, which was awesome. And it was great. Like, college was great. I'm never one to take it easy on myself. I could have just, like, been done after 2 years, but I just wanted to finish. I probably unnecessarily stressed myself out. At one point, had like 3 jobs because I'm crazy. I don't like to have a lot of downtime. I try to keep myself extremely busy because, like, idle mind is the devil's playground. I like to keep myself busy. So anyway, there was just a lot. Went through a, like, sexual assault in my early 20s. Right after that, gained a lot of weight, like a lot of weight. I think at my highest I was at like 320 some pounds. So really just carried on that weight for a really long time. I think especially because I opted to not tell anyone that it had happened. I just was gaining weight because I was depressed. After college, I had like a series of great jobs. The issue that I was having is that I just couldn't find anything that I was passionate about, and that really bothered me. So I was really looking for something where I could get the best of both worlds, and I just hadn't found that yet. Then right before my 22nd birthday, I met my now husband, and I opted to have weight loss surgery because at that time I was still really close to 300 pounds. And despite like working out, several different lifestyle changes, more exercise, and just a lot of testing like on my body, I just realized that it was very unlikely that I was going to be able to lose that weight on my own. I was really lucky that I didn't have any contributing factors that were terrible. Like I wasn't diabetic, like other than being overweight and like some joint problems and like a few problems like with my actual breathing. I didn't have any other contributing factors, and like what was super important to me is I want to be here as long as I can. So I didn't want to wait until I had other health problems to like take care of myself. So honestly, like since then, I had this surgery probably about, it's been 3 years now. My surgery date weight, I was at 287. And so yeah, like right before, when I first like started going through the process, I was right at 300. Through like the counseling and like going to a nutritionist, I lost 15 pounds on my own, just from like figuring out a few food allergies that I had that were just causing like inflammation and like problems. So went through with the surgery, and now I've lost like over 100 pounds, still trying to lose a little bit. But then like I was super frustrated after, because I thought like, damn, I thought losing the weight would honestly, like, I really thought that it would make it all go away. It was like I really thought that that would fix it, and it didn't. So I was like, well, now what? But through this process, I feel like I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned to not compare myself to other people. Also learned to do what you love, like whether it's your career or if it's something that you do outside of your career to supplement that, just do what you love. Do things that really make you feel good. You have to at some point let people in when you need help. Like you don't have to drown on an island by yourself, whether it's your family or a close friend or a therapist. Like you have to get help. Like you have to talk to someone. You can't, no one can go through life feeling like everything's okay, because in reality for most of us, different parts of it just aren't. And there are certain things that you really have to unpack to understand exactly why you feel the way you feel. Yourself in that direction. You can't love yourself when you get there, because then when you get there you don't like what you got out of it, because you weren't continuously working like in here throughout the process. And I think more so now than ever, like my husband, my best friend, and like my 2 sisters like truly carry me through that process. I have never felt more supported like emotionally than I do now, which is unfortunate because 3 out of 4 of those people have been there for pretty much the better part of my life. I just wasn't really, and my sisters are younger, I'm the oldest, so I couldn't really lean on them then the way I can talk to them now. I feel like they can understand a lot more than they could back then. But for sure, like it's been like these 30 years have been, it's been a whole vibe. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe below.